Welcome to Ventour. Today I'm out on a BMW GS310. So, let's see how I get on. I'm also going to do a comparison to the Royal Enfield Himalayan while we're at it, because they're not far off in terms of price and some of the features. So they may appeal to similar riders with similar ideas. Apparently this bike's been very popular for people starting out in motorcycling. Direct access. You can do your training on this, get your license, and then you've got your bike until you've got the experience to go up more powerful motorcycle. Specifications of the 310cc, hence the 310. 34 horsepower, 6 gears, upside down forks at the front. I'm travelling at 60 miles an hour on a nice B road, and it's quite proficient at going at these speeds. I wouldn't say it makes a very nice sound, it's more of a sort of hammer drill sort of buzz. Although there's very little vibration through the handlebars or the seat. And so far my bottom's reasonably comfortable, which is a positive thing. It has a nice digital display, clear speedo, rev counter at the bottom, so that's all pretty reasonable. I can hear myself again now. But again, similar to the Himalayan, the little screen at the front is a little screen and doesn't really do a lot. So okay, it's not really going to break your shoulders, the speeds that this is capable of, but certainly results in a lot more wind noise, and therefore ideally the use of earplugs when compared to the screen I'm used to on the GS, that is, of course. I'm now travelling at 30 miles an hour through a village. I'm taking this on a similar route to what I did before for other road tests, to keep things all fairly constant. Mirrors are quite good. So now I'm on a quieter road. So apart from people starting out in biking as a good first direct access bike, would you consider it otherwise? Well, certainly my recent rides on the Himalayan from Royal Enfield, I think it's a sort of bike potentially on a budget, with about how long you've been riding bikes. It's got some function there that you can properly use it and abuse it, and potentially go on quite long journeys. I'm not saying that this couldn't do that. One thing that I'm not familiar with is whether there are any options for luggage and the like, so that one could go on touring adventures. And again, on these lovely roads, quiet country roads, which I think are more than suitable for lower powered machines, it's actually quite pleasant. At these low speeds, 30 miles an hour, just quietly ticking away. So again, depends on your riding. But I would say if you looking for a learning machine, this is absolutely super. As for the riding position, when I first got on board, for me, being reasonably tall, at 6'1", maybe a little bit cramped, knees are quite bent, seem to be quite close to the handlebars. All seems a lot more compact than what I'm used to. Of course, used to riding much larger machines in terms of capacity and their size and height, seat, etc. Yes, let's try the brakes, see how we are for slowing down. Yeah, that's quite good. Back into first gear. Definitely better brakes than the Himalayan, no doubt there. It certainly felt quite powerful just then. Confidence inspiring. One of the things I'm going to do when I get back is try and compare the looks. Look at it parked beside the Himalayan. See how the looks compare between the two brands. Because at the end of the day, they're very different looking machines. Not that I've shown you this one yet, but they are very different looking machines. As my more recent reviews of hitherto RAF Peterborough Memorial, parked the bike up to go through the features. Hopefully that will work again today as an option. And this piece of road is quite bumpy, and I would say yeah, it's riding okay, but it's not quite as supple as the riding the Himalayan on this same piece of road. It may equate to it being a better handling bike if you wanted to go fast around corners. Gears and clutch very easy, light to use. Certainly a light gear change, so that's again ideal for people beginning their journey into motorbikes. What you won't have seen is that earlier I did go on a sort of short piece of dual carriageway and got the bike up to 70 miles an hour. And it seemed quite happy at that speed. Yes, the sounds are not delightful sounds coming from the engine, but in terms of ability, it wasn't any problem at all in maintaining that speed. So keeping up the traffic, this really has no issue with that. Right, here we are, RAF Peterborough Memorial. Here we are, the exterior of the BMW GS310. I actually think it looks really quite nice. There are some things that are less appealing. Let's go through the appealing bits, for me anyway. Upside down forks. Well, are they trendy? Are they good? I think they look quite nice. I like the styling. I like the colours. It's got a nice look to the front. However, as you come to the side, it does, well, it is an ideal bike for learners to do direct access. It does look a bit sort of teenage 125-ish, doesn't it? Anyway, let's look at the rear a little bit. It starts to look better as you come round to the rear. I quite like the exhaust. The rear end's very much The rear end looks quite good. So one of the things that you notice on this is, again, in the GS style, it has a shield to protect the engine. How strong that is. What's it made of? Plastic, so stop some stone chips if nothing else. The exhaust exits the rear of the engine, which is quite unusual. Apparently gives it better gas flow, so more efficiency, and I think you should certainly find very high MPGs with this bike. The disc brakes, as I just discovered, feel quite powerful and confidence inspiring, so let's have a look at those. So I'm not sure of the diameter, but more than adequate for this bike. The bike does feel very light, easy to lift up and down. Again, ideal for learners. So let's get on and ride it a little bit more, get it back to the showroom and see how it compares in a looks off. Good looking, the good, the bad, the ugly, or the good, the bad, the ugly, with the Royal Enfield. Next to find a coffee though. So when I came out on these roads with the Royal Enfield Himalayan, I went off-road. I've just been considering doing the same on this GS. However, I'm not sure I'm going to attempt it. For two reasons. Even though these are knobbly looking tyres, just on that rough gravel back at the Airfield Memorial, you could feel that it certainly had seemed to have less grip on the gravelly, horrible surface. And secondly, if I stand up, which I'm going to do now, I'm leaning very far forward. The handlebars seem to be sort of too low for that. They're more of a sportier riding position in terms of the handlebars on this bike. Whereas with the Royal Enfield, I was able to stand pretty much bolt upright without leaning forward, with the weight going through my legs in the way you expect when you're riding off-road. Yeah, definitely got a sportier ride than Royal Enfield by far in terms of the engine response. Gears, gear change, clutch, all work quite well and allow for a sportier ride. Not that I'm going to show you on video, but I did stall this bike earlier, so I would say that maybe its flywheel is maybe a little bit lighter, smaller engine than the Royal Enfield. Or it's just me being rubbish. We'll see what sort of speed it will pull in top gear. I'm in fifth at the moment. Ooh, it's 25 miles an hour and it's coughing a bit there. Sixth gear at 30 miles an hour, I think 31. Okay, so really you need to be above 31 for that to be effective. But I think really you're best to get it down a little bit and give it that sportier. To the right is where I rode the Royal Enfield off-road, bypassing it today. It's certainly a much quicker machine. Sounds like you're going like hell, but that's only 60. But it's fun, I have to say. Yeah, so I'm sorry not to have taken it off-road, but I think the tyres not being quite maybe as good as the Royal Enfield, one thing, but wasn't too much. It wouldn't have stopped me. With the fact that when I stand upright, I'm leaning forward like a chimpanzee, not really the ideal position for off-road, and I didn't really fancy doing such a bumpy track sitting in the saddle. Not really very clever. So in that conclusion, I don't think you should buy this bike with considerations with green laning, whereas a Royal Enfield, I think you could, absolutely. So there's an interesting conclusion. Right, it's time to find the coffee. Back in Oundle. You know, the roads around Peterborough, close to the Balderston's dealership, are awful. But you only have to go 5 miles and then you've got these absolutely super roads. So in some respects they are ideally located for test riding bikes. So I must say thank you again to all the guys at Balderston's, and especially to Lisa for organising these demos. Going back to the little display, it shows a gear, what gear you're in, the time, trip counter, mileage, amount of petrol, revs. Brilliant. So a great display. And again, the Royal Enfield showed most of that as well. So a like for like there. What wonderful weather for riding motorbikes. With such a warm day, being 27 degrees centigrade, wearing a leather jacket, leather gloves, Kevlar jeans, all a little bit hot. But is the luxury of going around in a t-shirt and shorts a good idea? No. So those people I see riding their bikes in shorts and t-shirts with just a helmet, you're nuts. In terms of the engine performance, it's falls quite well from about 4,000 RPM. And then once you're above 5, it really starts to come alive. So it's certainly a sportier feel than the Royal Enfield. Let's go through some of the differences now. I've been riding this a little while between this BMW GS310 and the Royal Enfield Himalayan. I've come to the conclusion after my time today on this bike that they're quite different machines. So again, you need to get out and test it for yourself. If you've got a license, that is, full license, and you're considering these. Get out and test ride, do back to back. So first consideration, of course, is price. This is £5,100. The Royal Enfield Himalayan, £4,200. That's £900 less substantially different price. Ah, you say, but that's German engineering. That's why it's so much more money. But they're both made in India. So this may be BMW, but it's made in a BMW factory in India. So that's a couple of things to consider. Which is the best for adventure? I would say probably the Himalayan. It's certainly, I didn't even take this off-road because I didn't feel it was really suitable. So in that respect, the Himalayan. As for luggage, I'm not sure about this little GS. I'm sure there are BMW accessories. So one would need to look and compare. You know, we don't have to buy the OEM luggage, of course. There are many luggage options out there for both bikes, I'm sure. So if you want to go on some adventures, again, you'd have to test ride both to really decide which is the most suitable for you. This is probably going to be the one that's better for those, well, there's no doubt. This is the better bike for faster speeds, higher speeds. Certainly if you're going on any dual carriageways, this is going to be okay. Not for very long, probably, but it's going to be okay. Himalayan, less so. Thank you very much. If you are looking for something that's got a more of a sporty ride, and it's quite clearly this GS. In terms of the engine response, thrust, top end, speed, gear change, clutch, the GS has that in the bag, I would say. Going back to comfort, even though I said I found this quite compact, and certainly the handlebars are a bit too sort of low and sporty, despite it being labelled a GS. It's comfortable, and in terms of my bottom, I'm still, after an hour or two of riding, I'm still okay. Yeah, I'm still comfortable. It isn't as comfortable as my big 1200 GS, anywhere near, but it's a lot more comfortable on my bottom than the Himalayan. So in terms of that, this wins comfort to botties. For poodling along, steady speeds, there's probably nothing in it really. Let's go to the commuting option that some people would consider these bikes for. I think that sort of low gear as I'm pulling out there in first, and the fact that I've stalled it, yes, it's me, yes, I know, but I didn't do that on the Himalayan. I found that first gear was a little bit taller, maybe because it's got 5 gears and a bigger engine, it can take a higher first. So I think round town that's going to be a little bit more annoying when compared to the Himalayan. So as a town bike, again, you need to test them for yourself, but I would say the Himalayan probably has some benefits there. Braking power, this definitely has it in the bag. So really, in terms of performance, the GS wins. It's faster, more spirited, and has better anchors to stop you from speed. But you wonder, you buy a magazine, you think, which is the best bike? Let me read what they say, and they compare 2, 3, 4 bikes and then come out with often the conclusion that one's come first place and another one's fourth or whatever. But what are they comparing to often? And, you know, it's a personal choice. So I really can't say that this is better than the Himalayan or vice versa. But there are certain areas where one, I think, would be more suitable. Now, if I had £5,100 only, this could be my only, that's all I could do. I had to buy a new bike. Would I consider these? Well, I haven't looked at other bikes in the price range, so maybe that doesn't help. But if there was these two available, would I spend all my money on this and have nothing spare for luggage and stuff, doing a bit of adventure? Would I get the Himalayan and have a bit of money spare to buy some panniers, maybe heated grips and those sort of things? So that's a difficult thing. What would I choose? I think I would go for the GS. I think what I would have to do, I've not done it today, my purpose for such a bike would be to, well, yeah, see how far I could go. Could I go round the north of Scotland on it? And would I be going off-road? No. So I want comfort? Yes. Could I save up afterwards to buy my panniers? Or just put a backpack on and go for it? Or just take one pair of spare pants and be done with it? Who knows? Probably yes. So I think I would purchase this if I had that £5,100 only available. So if I was buying a bike commuting, I think I'd get the Himalayan. Absolutely, definitely. Get some heated grips. That would do the job nicely, thank you very much. If I was learning to ride, and I'm quite young, I'd buy this, not the Himalayan. Then, you know, if you've only got £4,100 and you want a brand new bike, and you haven't got the, well, 4,200, isn't it? And you haven't got £5,100, then you've got no choice either. So, pay your money, you make your choice. Having said all of that, I think many people would buy these bikes and the Himalayan with some sort of finance or hire agreement sort of thing. So actually it's that monthly payment that one will consider. I think with this bike you can actually, as a learner, do a deal with Balderston's where you get to have a few days of motorcycle training and go through your test. Once you pass your test, you actually then can buy one of these, all part of the package, for £99 a month. Or buy one. I think it's like a hire. So you'd have it for probably a period of 2-3 years or something, I'm not sure, you'd have to check. And then you can give it back and go up to the a more powerful machine at that point. So certainly that makes a lot of sense as a way into getting a bike license and getting on the road. Riding this for 3 years or however long it needs to be, I don't know. Yeah, well, you could have some adventures on it, couldn't you? Absolutely. Something else I've noticed is on this bike compared to the Royal Enfield, I was using both brakes to slow down effectively and comfortably. On this GS, in a normal sort of riding situation, the front brake is actually more than adequate most of the time. Doesn't need a lot of pressure to remove normal amounts of speed, so that's quite nice. Definitely think this is a younger person's machine than the Royal Enfield. There's something else to think again. It's certainly better for beginners. Right, here we are. We'll get it lined up with the other bike. Okay, as promised, let's do a side-by-side, or almost side-by-side, comparison with the GS and the Himalayan. They really are very different looking machines. You can see the Himalayan has those more upright bars. It has a traditional look to it. The GS has that more sporty look. And to me, if I was looking at the two of them, I would consider the GS to be, if I was unknowing, more of a learner machine, a little 125. And the Royal Enfield does look that a bit chunkier. The engine looks bigger. If you were to drop the Enfield, you've got these bars. If you were to drop the GS, you've got plastic bits to dent. Even though this the GS has these knobbly sort of tyres, definitely felt a lot better on that horrible gravel on the Himalayan. And it's just a shame about the seat on the Himalayan being so uncomfortable. This is a lot more comfortable for my body. Maybe the same would go if you had a passenger. One of the things that I'll let you guys look into is the types of luggage available. So if you were looking at touring on one of these, then that could be a deciding factor as well. But there we are. Absolute personal choice. Very different machines, but almost in the same category. Anyway, thank you for watching Fentour, and I hope you found these videos today of use. If you've got any questions, just comment below. Thank you again to Balderston's for loaning me these bikes so that I could do the comparison. See you next time. Bye bye.